was supposed to be just another entertaining night on Jimmy Kimmel's show, with Ben Affleck booked as the headline guest. Affleck had been making headlines recently for his role in a gritty new crime thriller and his public reconciliation with Jennifer Lopez. Audiences were buzzing to see the actor in a relaxed, humorous setting. When he walked on stage, applause erupted and Ben greeted Jimmy with a warm handshake and a half-smile that hinted at something simmering beneath the surface. At first glance, it all looked like business as usual, but what unfolded would soon make headlines for a very different reason. Jimmy began the interview with his signature sarcasm, poking fun at Ben's brooding on-screen characters and his occasional disheveled paparazzi photos. Affleck laughed along awkwardly, clearly trying to be a good sport. But as Jimmy continued, it became evident that Ben's mood wasn't entirely light-hearted. When Jimmy jokingly referenced an old meme about Ben looking miserable while holding coffee, the actor's expression changed. "You know," Ben said flatly, "sometimes people just want a coffee without being turned into a meme." The studio audience chuckled, unsure whether Ben was joking or genuinely annoyed. Jimmy tried to lighten the moment, quipping, "Hey, you know the internet loves you, even if it doesn't always love your coffee face." Ben didn't laugh. He leaned forward, staring at Jimmy with a tense smile. "You've been riding that joke for years, man. Don't you think it's a little tired?" The room quieted. Kimmel raised his eyebrows, clearly not expecting resistance this early in the conversation. Trying to pivot, Jimmy brought up Ben's latest movie, but it quickly went south. He joked that the plot felt like Batman meets Rehab, referencing both Ben's superhero past and his well-documented struggles with addiction. The comment drew a gasp from the audience, and Ben's entire posture changed. He sat up straight, jaw clenched. "Wow," he said, his voice low but sharp. "You really just went there, didn't you?" Jimmy, sensing the tension, tried to backpedal with a half-hearted laugh. "It's just a joke, Ben. You know how we do it here." Ben didn't smile. "Yeah, I know how you do it. You take real pain, real human struggles, and turn them into punchlines for applause. That's not comedy, that's cruelty." The studio audience was now dead silent. The air was thick with discomfort, and the crew could be seen exchanging worried glances off stage. Jimmy shifted in his chair, clearly rattled. "Come on, Ben. We've known each other a long time," he said, trying to recover. "You've always been able to laugh at yourself." Ben's response was swift. "There's laughing at yourself, and then there's being laughed at by someone who should know better." His voice was calm, but there was no mistaking the fire behind his words. He pulled the microphone from his lapel, letting it drop to the floor. "I came here to promote something I poured my soul into, not to be reduced to a tabloid headline. In a tuxedo." Jimmy tried once more to salvage the moment, saying, "Hey man, let's not do this, you're overreacting." That word, overreacting, was the final straw. Ben stood up, eyes locked on Jimmy. "You don't get to decide how I react to being disrespected," he said firmly. "You invited me here. If this is how you treat your guests, I won't be one." Without another word, he turned and began walking off stage. The audience sat in stunned silence, unsure whether it was real or part of a bit, but the tension in the room made it clear this wasn't scripted. As Ben exited the stage, Jimmy remained seated, visibly flustered. "Okay. Ben Affleck. Everybody," he mumbled into the mic. The applause sign didn't light up. The crowd remained mostly silent, some people even shaking their heads. The show quickly cut to a commercial break, but it was too late. Clips of the walkout were already hitting social media within minutes, sparking one of the most viral moments of the week. Twitter and Instagram were instantly flooded with reactions. Fans praised Ben for standing up for himself, while others criticized Jimmy for crossing a line. The debate split viewers down the middle. Hashtags like Team Affleck and Kimmel Out of Line trended globally. Celebrities began chiming in as well. Some defended Jimmy, arguing that he's always pushed boundaries, but many more voiced support for Affleck's stance. One of the loudest voices came from Jennifer Lopez, who posted a cryptic but telling message on Instagram, "Dignity over laughs always." While she didn't name names, everyone understood the reference. Soon after, other stars, like Matt Damon and Viola Davis, also shared their support for Ben, calling him brave and real. The entertainment world hadn't seen a late-night moment this controversial since Letterman's prime. The next day, Jimmy addressed the incident during his monologue, attempting to play it down. "Ben and I go way back," he said, and "sometimes friends have heated moments. I respect him and hope we can laugh about this one day." But viewers weren't convinced. The apology felt more like PR damage control than genuine remorse, and the comment sections were quick to point that out. Meanwhile, Ben made no public statement. His silence only amplified his side of the story. Interviews with crew members from the set leaked online, confirming that Ben had been promised a respectful segment focused on his new film, not a roast of his personal struggles. That betrayal, they said, was what really triggered the confrontation. Fans who had been on the fence started shifting in his favor. Media outlets picked up the story relentlessly. TMZ posted exclusive backstage footage of Ben exiting the building, visibly angry but composed. Entertainment Tonight did a full segment breaking down the moment frame by frame. Even morning shows like Good Morning America discussed the fallout, turning a celebrity clash into a broader conversation about boundaries, sensitivity, and the role of humor in media. Producers at ABC reportedly urged Jimmy to reach out to Ben privately, fearing long-term damage to both their reputations. Sources say Ben responded politely, but declined any further interaction, at least for now. "There's nothing to talk about," he reportedly said. "What needed to be said was said on that stage." The line was repeated in countless headlines, solidifying Affleck's image as someone who wouldn't tolerate public disrespect anymore. Months later, the event still lingered in the pop culture atmosphere. Interviewers now asked celebrities how they'd respond in Ben's shoes, and more. Stars began taking stands on late-night formats that veered into mockery. Jimmy adjusted his tone in future interviews, avoiding overly personal jokes, perhaps a sign he knew the line had been crossed. Ben's movie, ironically, saw a surge in box office numbers, fueled by the media storm. Viewers flooded theaters to support the actor, many citing his powerful stance on Kimmel's show as the reason. It was a rare case of public conflict, leading to professional success. Ben, for his part, returned to the spotlight with even more clarity and confidence. Meanwhile, Kimmel's show experienced a noticeable dip in ratings. Though not catastrophic, the shift was enough for executives to take note. Writers were asked to review scripts more carefully, and sensitivity training was quietly implemented behind the scenes. The network seemed determined to ensure that what happened with Ben wouldn't happen again. When asked months later in a different interview about that infamous night, Ben offered a composed reflection. "People will say it was dramatic or unnecessary," he said. "But when someone turns your pain into a punchline on national TV and you let it slide, you're giving them permission. I just decided not to give that permission anymore." His words resonated with thousands. Fans began quoting them in fan edits, tributes, and posts that praised authenticity in the celebrity world. Ben Affleck, once criticized for being too serious or moody, had evolved into a symbol of personal boundaries and self-respect. In an industry built on illusion, he reminded everyone of the value of truth. To this day, the incident remains one of the most talked about moments in recent late-night history. It wasn't a meltdown. It wasn't ego. It was a man drawing a line in real time and walking away from a stage that didn't respect it. Ben Affleck didn't raise his voice or throw a tantrum. He simply stood, spoke his truth, and exited. And in doing so, he reminded millions that dignity is not negotiable. Even under the studio lights,